a very good day to you, and thanks for joining us. This is Inside Business Africa, Africa's business news and information leader. My name is Kenneth Odushola Stevenson. On today's edition of the program, in the next 25 minutes thereabout, we'll be listening to a very important personality. For 38 years, Nweze Engineering has set the standard in electrical and power engineering in Nigeria. The managing director who took over after the demise of the husband continued to state the course and building an enterprise that in the next 2 years may be a PLC. Welcome to the world of Nweze Engineering Nigeria Limited, and also welcome to the world of Lady Josephine Nweze. Take a listen.
Something, the receipt of any award is something good, it's something pleasant. It proves that the little you do is being recognized. So it's something that I'm happy about. Well, my name is Lady Josephine Nweze. I have my first degree in B.Ed English. Thereafter, I had a second degree in law, LLB law, and then I proceeded to do my master's in business administration. So beyond that, I had gone to several business schools. I'm an alumni of Lagos Business School, for instance. I also have a degree in Harvard University. I did another leadership training in Singapore, Barcelona, and China. I've gone through series of business schools to prepare me for the responsibilities ahead. The vision of Nweze Engineering was born by a young entrepreneur, like I always say, who caught the vision to make an impact in the electrical world. As a young man, he started his career in house wiring, and then after he worked for many years up until 1983, when he decided to incorporate a name that he had used to work, which is Nweze Electrical Works and Supply. That explains where we got Nweze Engineering. It's just an acronym for Nweze Engineering. So he incorporated Nweze Engineering in the year 1983, and then that also expanded his vision. With that, he went into rural electrifications, and then he also started building substations, transmission lines, and street light projects. So now we had also gone into mini grid, renewable mini grids. We had developed quite a number of them. So the vision actually was caught by my husband, and on his demise we had to, run with the vision. So today we are happy to say that the vision has been sustained. We've been able to sustain the vision. We didn't allow his legacy to die. We have, in fact, the company had, we have capacity to, we had gone through every aspect of electrical construction, judging from rural electrification, substation, transmission. We have gone to the highest capacity, which is 330 kV transmission line projects. So we pride ourselves as a leading indigenous company in Nigeria, and we always say that we set the pace for others to follow. So we had a handful of projects that we had commissioned in our country that had that has separated us from other companies, and quality of what we do is what speaks for us. We do not compromise quality. It is very easy to see a project that is commissioned by news and to identify it by its quality. So most companies cut corners just to make profit. We had made a name, we had come a long way. This is about 38 years in business. So we have a lot at stake. We have a name to protect. So we do not want to be associated with substandard work. For so many years, the quality of work we have done had always spoken for us. I may not say specifically when and where,
yes,
but I can appreciate the fact that there have been series of challenges in the power sector. Number one is lack of continuity. When an incoming administration comes in, they find it difficult to continue with a project started by their predecessor. That is one problem. And if you go across Nigeria, you see a lot of abandoned projects. It doesn't make any economic sense that an incoming administration will come and then they want to take pride in starting another project when there are a lot of uncompleted projects. So that is one major thing that has also affected us in the power sector. Another thing is the power probe of 2008. It was a major setback because for many years after that power probe, there was nothing happened in the power sector. So it was, I see it as a serious waste of time, because eventually the project they were trying to frustrate was eventually constructed. That was the NIPP, National Integrated Power Projects. When the former administration president left office, there were lots of petitions that the project was inflated, it should not be funded, and then the National Assembly got involved. So in trying to kill the project, they now started investigation. Eventually, the report came out clear that there was need for that project. So, and then by the time the report came, a lot of years had already gone, wasted years which we couldn't recover. And then it was at that point that they started funding the projects. These are projects that ordinarily, if it had started at the time it was awarded, it wouldn't have been caught up by inflation. After 3-4 years a project was awarded, you don't expect people to do it at the same cost after 4 years. So the contractor started requesting for variation. So these are the kind of problems that had affected us in the power sector. And then another problem is we have a lot of obsolete equipment that requires upgrade. Thank God for what the present administration is doing now through the CBN facility that is given to these schools. So with this program now in view, I see that many obsolete equipment is going to be changed. Many transformers that are old and that are not that have serviced their use, they are going to be changed. So that's a good thing that is happening. Now another problem that had affected the power sector is we don't believe in our own. We tend to look down on what belongs to us instead of finding a way to support our indigenous companies. We tend to rely more on foreign companies. By so doing, anytime there is a tender, the tender requirement is off the roof. you find it's very difficult for an indigenous company to meet up the financial requirements. It's not quite long we came out of recession and then the effect of the COVID, and then asking an indigenous company to have a turnover of over maybe $50 million, $150 million is impossible. So that requirement alone makes you not to participate. Eventually it is now only the foreign companies that will come and do the project. And what they do, they are almost, because they are end users of what they manufacture, so their interest is on procurement. Many of them will procure and abandon the project, and when the project is abandoned, they will now start looking for indigenous companies that will come and do the construction. So we don't believe in ourselves, and we have very smart and seasoned engineers in Nigeria. It's just that we don't give them enough support. Well, I did say that I am not the vision bearer of news,
Yes.
but I'm the vision carrier.
Exactly.
I will explain myself. My husband died in the year 2006. He started the business. So on his demise, there was confusion everywhere. The company was closed down for 3 months. All of us were confused. The clients were confused. The family was confused. The company was confused. Nobody knew exactly what to do. So that was the situation we found ourselves. The clients were writing, who do we relate with? We sympathize with you over what has happened, but what is the way forward? How we have a lot of ongoing projects handled by the company. Who do we relate with? The staff were confused. They don't know who to relate with. The family, the children are young. I wasn't prepared. I didn't have any intention of becoming the managing director. Well, that's why I describe myself as accidental leader or accidental chief executive. Well, I just had to develop the right mindset to look at the challenge and say, well, whatever it is, if I don't take care and decide on what to do, then the whole thing will collapse. So I decided to take the bull by the horn, and I wrote to the client and said, well, this is what happened. I'm now the new chief executive officer. So it wasn't easy. It wasn't expected to be easy. There were bank loans hanging on the company here and there. So when I wrote to them, I had to sit down to learn on the job. I had to, there's already a structure in place. Management team is already in place. Everything is in place. It's just for you to sit down, understudy what's already on ground, and then find a way of improving yourself. I did a lot of consultation. There are a lot of, consultants that I could always rely on. So I also had to work on myself. So trying to acquire as much knowledge as I can really helped me. And learning on the job is one good thing that I don't have any regret. I didn't assume the office as a madam. I didn't assume the office as this is my husband's business. I assumed as someone that is ready and willing to learn. And because my mind was there, it didn't take me time. I was able to understudy everybody that I need to, and then we took it off from there. News engineering is almost like a household name in Nigeria. Hardly will you go to any state without us having a project that has been commissioned by the company. We had executed a handful of projects across the country, and our major client is the federal government, state governments, Ministry of Power, TCN, REA, NDPHC, just to mention a few, because the capacity is there. The capacity is there, so the to get a new job is usually not a problem because the client understands the fact that yes, they have the capacity. That is number one. It's one thing to get the project, it's another thing to execute it. So during the era of NIPP, we were the only company that was awarded 4 lots. The normal thing then was each company 1 lot. But because we had the capacity, we were given 4 lots. Lot 40 that is in Port Harcourt, lot 23 and 33 that is in the north, then lot 23 at Anambra. So these are lots that have, like each lot may have more than 7 injection substations. So if you add everything up together, we're able to develop like 30-something injection substations across these 4 lots. So that's not just it. We also did Gombe Damatu transmission line project, 330 kVA. We ran the line from Gombe to Damatu. We're talking about over 330 kilometers apart. So in the area of substations, we have built a lot of substations, 132 to 330 kV across the nation. We built the substation at Jalingo, we built the substation at Kefi, we built the substation at Amupe, we built the substation even in Abuja here, Kukwaba. That project at Kukwaba here was abandoned by a Chinese company. They finished the procurement and they didn't do the construction. So it was at that point that TCN invited us to do the project, and we commissioned it. And then it was a world-class project. The people that came for the commissioning didn't believe that such a project could be handled by an indigenous company. And most recently, one of our projects at Aguaka in Anambra State was commissioned by the Vice President of Nigeria.
Your Excellencies, guests, ladies and gentlemen, this, the Niger Delta Power Holding Company Limited, has built this 2 by 60 MVA, 132, 33 kV substation, and it's being commissioned today, the 24th August 2021, at Aguaka, Anambra State, for the benefit of all of the people of Anambra State and to the glory of God.
So the company is doing so well. We have very seasoned, qualified engineers that have been trained within and outside the country. But the problem is, we need to, our government need to find a way to support our own, as it is done outside the country, outside Nigeria. Doing business in Nigeria is very difficult, very challenging, especially for indigenous companies. And because we don't have a lot of policies that protects us as indigenous companies. It's not like we don't have the capacity. We have the capacity to deliver projects like foreign companies. But what we lack is enough support from our government. There are a lot of things that affect us as indigenous companies. Tax, number one. To pay, by the time what they tax us is too much. Then by the time you do all that, you find out that you end up doing the business at almost nothing. And then you are being subjected to the same condition with foreigners. And these are end users of what they manufacture. If I have to bid for procurement of transformer, I don't manufacture transformer. I will go to either Turkey, China or India. And they will come here and tender the same, do the same tender with me under the same condition. So what makes you think that I will get it? They can go as low as possible because these are what they manufacture. But there is nothing in place to protect us as indigenous companies. So our government, if we really need to improve on our economy, we need to come up with policies that will protect us. Otherwise, we are going to rely on other countries forever. So things like publishing of tender, we shouldn't be enjoying the same thing with foreigners. I'm not saying they should not come, but there are certain concessions has to be given to indigenous companies. We are the ones that employ labor. It is the private sector that drives the economy. Most of these Chinese people, when they come with even their cook, rendering our own professionals, rendering them useless. They will come with all their engineers. They will come with their cook. They don't even eat their food. So we need to go back to the drawing board. And if we really need to grow our economy as Nigerians, we need to go back to the drawing board and be able to tell ourselves the truth. It doesn't make sense that I will just subjected under the same condition with foreign people that I go to do procurement from. So Nigerians, like I always say, we have the capacity. For a company that had existed for 38 years, you can see that the problem is not expertise. The problem is not capacity. But when you subject a company under very tough condition, there's not much you can do. My advice is that government is a continuum. It's supposed to be a continuous process. It doesn't matter who is there. You can't be there forever. The most you can be there is 8 years. And then another person should come on board. Let there be a process where there should be continuity. Even if you are not the one that initiated a project, the incoming person should be able to complete it before starting a new project. Because when you go through many states, you see there's a particular state that we worked. We had procured thousands of poles, concrete poles, very high quality poles. It's still on the road because the incoming administration refused to fund the project. So we can't make progress if we are following that way. We cannot. So we have to come up with something that will make us, have a continuous process. It doesn't matter whether you are the one that awarded the contract. Let that project be completed instead of having a lot of abandoned projects. Secondly, I'm a Nigerian, and the company is 100% Nigerian, and I'm an employer of labor. I have over 200 people working for me. If government cannot support me, what happens to the people working? It means that I'll have a problem paying salaries. It means that when I can't pay salaries, I will downsize, and then people will lose their jobs. So what I think government should do is, when they see a company that is credible, a company that knows what they are doing, a company that has given employment to many people, there has to be a way of supporting them instead of making life difficult, subjecting them to very hard conditions. So that's my advice. If we actually want to grow our economy, I think we should go back to the drawing board and do the right thing. Ten years is actually too far.
Okay.
I would rather be very comfortable answering where I see this company in the next 2 years. Before I go into that, I'm happy to say that we had diversified into other areas. News engineering is the mother company, but we had gone into real estate business. We are also into farming. We had also gone into manufacturing. So in the next, I think that News has done well as a company, because the normal thing, I say normal in quote, is that when a vision bearer dies, the vision dies with him. But we've been able to sustain this legacy. So News has really proved a point that it has come to stay. So in the next 2 years, I'm looking at listing the company in the stock market so that other investors can come in. Because if you have been able to sustain a business for 38 years, it means that that business has come to stay. So it means that it's a business that when you invest money, you can be sure to get your return on investment. So ask me in the next 2 years where I think News will be. I see News going PLC in the next 2 years. I see other investors coming into News. I see News also going into serious manufacturing of tower members. We have just maybe 1 or 2 companies that are doing that, galvanized plant in Nigeria. They don't even meet the needs of companies. So these are areas we are also looking into. And this is something that will also give employment to many Nigerians. So we are looking into going into manufacturing of galvanized plants. So that's where I see the company tilting towards in the next couple of years. That is a very natural thing that is practiced by most companies, News inclusive. So anywhere we work, we try to engage people from that locality. So one thing we do, if we go to any locality, we try to, identify with the leadership, like the chief of that area, to tell them, okay, we are here to do this project. We came to introduce this company. We want you to protect this project. So what we usually do is to ask them to give us security. So this project is in your locality. So it is your responsibility to make sure that the equipment here is not vandalized. So we engage people, and then if they give us, if they have engineers, because it's an electrical construction company, if they have anybody that's qualified, we also engage them. So once in a while they will tell us, we have this project, we want you to support us. So we go all the way out to support. So those are a few of the things we do in anywhere we have a project as a corporate social responsibility. Local content policy has thrived so well in oil and gas, but I can't say the same in the power sector. It's not as straight as we think in the power sector. The reason is because there's no policy on ground. I mean, it might be in principle, it may be in the book, but we haven't started practicing it. I mean, policy to protect indigenous companies. So most foreign companies, they have a way of maneuvering things. They have a way of maneuvering things because they know that if they do what they want to do, they will always find their way out. So I'll give you an instance. Few days, a company came, they have submitted, they were invited for selective tendering. That's a foreign company. And they went ahead and submitted. It was at the point of approval or disapproval that they were told to come back, that they are supposed to partner with a local company. But they had all the guts to finish all the tender on their own to go and submit without. So local content is something that we have to put our foot on the ground for it to work in the power sector. It is not as efficient as it is in the oil and gas sector, and it is actually another way of supporting the indigenous companies. If you want this, many a times they will tell you that a project is high tech, it requires high tech, you don't have the capacity to do it. Then let it be a policy that even if you are bringing a foreign company to do it, they must partner with a local company. That way, let there be transfer of technology. So if we keep dealing directly with these people the way we are going, we will continue to rely on them forever. Indigenous companies need the support of federal government because they are employers of labor. If they don't work under friendly business environment, things will be very difficult. They will disengage workers, and there will be a lot of unemployed people around. So government should support, they should find a way of supporting indigenous companies. And secondly, the professional bodies should come together and put a bit of pressure on the government so that the local content policy that has thrived in the oil and gas sector will be implemented in the same way in the power sector. I want to believe that if this too is done, we will do better in Nigeria as companies.
You would definitely agree with me that that particular establishment, NWAEZE Engineering Nigeria Limited, has actually defined the position, power, and the direction of the electrical and power engineering in Nigeria. Well, from the humble beginning 38 years ago, that particular establishment has actually stamped itself as the most responsible, responsive, and innovative engineering firms in Nigeria, taking over from any other, whether foreign or Nigerian. It's an indigenous establishment, and we are proud to be associated with this establishment. And in the word of the managing director, CEO, they are committed to building a very important engineering sector in Nigeria. And they are calling on partners, professional bodies, and also government to look beyond foreign and look at home, because the expertise and capacity are all here. Don't forget, congratulations, because that particular establishment recently won a Corporate Excellence Award from CUD magazine, and we are proud to be associated with NWAEZE Engineering. Thanks for watching.